Picture this, you're walking backstage after defending your legacy for years. Suddenly, two monsters appear from the shadows. Before you can react, a spear cuts you in half. Then, over 500 pounds of pure destruction crashes down on your spine. Security watches. They do nothing. Why? Because someone ordered them to stand down. This isn't just an attack. This is a calculated execution. And the victim? The tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns. What you're about to witness will make your blood boil. This wasn't a fair fight. This wasn't even a fight at all. This was an ambush, a statement, and possibly the most controversial moment in recent WWE history. Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed didn't just attack Roman Reigns. They tried to end his career. And here's the part that will make you furious: management allowed it to happen. Before we dive into the complete breakdown of this disgraceful assault, we have a quick request for you. We are constantly working to improve our content to earn your love and support. That's why we would truly appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on Wrestling Zone Insider. Now, let's talk about what really happened in that backstage area, and why this attack represents everything wrong with how new talent is being pushed in today's WWE. The attack began in a corridor where Roman Reigns was simply walking, minding his own business. There were no cameras scheduled, no official match booked, just Roman, alone and vulnerable. That's when Bron Breakker emerged like a predator stalking prey. Without warning, without provocation, Breakker charged with terrifying speed and delivered a devastating spear that echoed through the entire backstage area. But here's what makes this truly sickening: Breakker didn't stop there. As Roman lay on the cold concrete floor, gasping for air, trying to comprehend what just happened, Bronson Reed appeared. This mountain of a man, weighing well over 300 pounds, had one purpose: destruction. Reed grabbed the helpless tribal chief and positioned him for what would become one of the most brutal moves witnessed backstage in years: the tsunami splash. 500+ pounds crashing down with the force of a freight train directly onto Roman's spine. The sound was sickening, the impact was career-threatening, and the intention was crystal clear. This wasn't about making a statement in the ring. This was about ending Roman Reigns outside of it. Here's a trivia question for you to answer in the comments: how many times has Roman Reigns successfully defended the Universal Championship during his historic reign? Drop your answer below and let's see who the real WWE historians are in our community. But the assault didn't end with that initial tsunami splash. Oh no, that was just the beginning of Roman's nightmare. As security personnel began to rush toward the scene, something absolutely inexplicable happened. They stopped. They literally froze in their tracks. Why? Because someone backstage, someone in a position of authority, gave the order to stand down. Let that sink in for a moment. WWE security was told to allow this assault to continue. Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed dragged Roman's nearly unconscious body through the backstage area like he was nothing more than a rag doll. They positioned him near a production crate, one of those heavy wooden boxes that holds equipment and gear. Breakker lifted Roman up, and with Reed's assistance, they slammed the tribal chief through that crate with such force that it splintered into pieces. The sound of wood cracking mixed with Roman's groans of agony created a symphony of destruction that these two young monsters seemed to enjoy. Think about this for a second. Roman Reigns has main event countless WrestleManias. He's defeated every legend put in front of him. He's carried WWE on his shoulders for years. And this is how he's treated? Thrown through equipment like garbage while security watches? This isn't just disrespectful to Roman. It's disrespectful to every fan who has supported him through his incredible journey. The assault continued as they dragged Roman toward the loading dock area. A massive steel garage door stood there, the kind used for loading trucks and equipment. Bronson Reed, that sadistic behemoth, pressed Roman's broken body against that unforgiving steel. Then he backed up, building momentum, and delivered another crushing tsunami splash, sandwiching Roman between 500 pounds of flesh and cold, hard steel. The sound of Roman's body hitting that door will haunt anyone who witnessed it. Here's another question for the comments: which current WWE superstar do you think should stand up for Roman Reigns after this cowardly attack? Give us your thoughts below. But these two weren't finished. Not even close. As Roman lay crumpled on the ground, barely moving, barely breathing, Breakker and Reed spotted something that would serve as the perfect final exclamation point to their heinous attack. Steel chairs. Multiple steel chairs stacked near the production area. They grabbed those chairs and arranged them in a pile, creating what can only be described as a bed of steel nightmares. Bronson Reed, showing absolutely no mercy, no humanity, grabbed Roman Reigns and lifted him high above his head in a gorilla press position. For those unfamiliar, this is when a wrestler holds their opponent overhead with arms fully extended, showcasing both their strength and their victim's helplessness. Roman was completely defenseless, his body already broken from the previous attacks. And then Reed did the unthinkable. He power slammed Roman's spine first onto that pile of steel chairs. The sound was absolutely horrific. Metal bending, bodies colliding, and somewhere in that chaos, the possible sound of Roman Reigns' career being shortened. This wasn't wrestling. This wasn't even a fight. This was attempted career-ending assault, plain and simple, and it happened while WWE personnel stood by and watched because someone in power told them to stand down. Let's address the elephant in the room here. Why did security stand down? Who gave that order? These are questions that demand answers. In what world does a wrestling promotion allow its biggest star, its top champion, its main event attraction to be brutalized without intervention? The implications are staggering and deeply troubling. Some are speculating that this was sanctioned by higher-ups who believe the company needs to move on from the Roman Reigns era. Others suggest this was Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed going into business for themselves, with management too scared to stop them. Either scenario is absolutely unacceptable. Either WWE management orchestrated an assault on their own champion, or they've lost control of their locker room. Neither option inspires confidence. We have a quick request for you. We are constantly working to improve our content to earn your love and support. That's why we would truly appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on Wrestling Zone Insider. What makes this situation even more complex is the message being sent. Bron Breakker, son of Rick Steiner and nephew of Scott Steiner, carries legitimate wrestling royalty in his bloodline. He's been positioned as the future of WWE since his arrival. His combination of size, speed, and raw intensity makes him a legitimate threat to anyone on the roster. But does that justify this kind of attack? Does having a famous last name give you the right to ambush and destroy established stars? Bronson Reed, on the other hand, represents a different kind of threat. This Australian powerhouse has been criminally underutilized for years. His frustration with his position in WWE has been evident to anyone paying attention. Perhaps this attack was his way of forcing WWE's hand, making them acknowledge his abilities by associating himself with chaos and destruction. But again, does frustration justify attempted career termination? The WWE Universe is now divided into camps. Some fans are celebrating this as the dawn of a new era. They claim Roman Reigns has held the main event scene hostage for too long and that fresh faces like Breakker and Reed deserve their moment in the spotlight. These fans point to Roman's lengthy title reigns and dominant booking as justification for this kind of harsh reality check. Then there are the fans who are absolutely outraged, and rightfully so. Roman Reigns earned his position through years of dedication, through battling cancer and returning stronger, through evolving his character into the most compelling heel in recent memory before transitioning back into a respected veteran. He didn't get his spot handed to him despite what some critics claim. He earned every single accomplishment through blood, sweat, and tears. To see him disrespected in this manner is infuriating to millions of his supporters worldwide. Here's a trivia question that might spark some debate in the comments. What year did Roman Reigns make his main roster debut as part of The Shield? Let us know your answer below. Let's break down the individual actions of each attacker because their methods reveal their psychology. Bron Breakker's spear that initiated the assault wasn't just any spear. It was delivered with years of pent-up ambition behind it. Breakker has been chomping at the bit to prove he belongs in the main event picture. That spear was him announcing his arrival in the most violent way possible. It was personal, it was calculated, and it was meant to send a message not just to Roman, but to every established star in WWE: your time is up, and I'm taking what I want. Bronson Reed's tsunami splashes tell a different story. Each one was methodical, deliberate, and excessive. The first tsunami splash could be written off as making an impact. The second one against the steel door? That's crossing a line. That's not about making a statement anymore. That's about inflicting maximum damage. That's about ending someone's ability to compete. Reed's actions suggest this wasn't just about elevating himself. This was about destroying Roman Reigns specifically. The gorilla press power slam onto the steel chairs was particularly egregious because of what it represents. In wrestling, there's an unwritten code about protecting your opponent, even in the most heated rivalries. You work stiff, you make it look real, but you don't actually try to injure someone. Reed completely abandoned that code. Lifting Roman high above his head and power slamming him onto steel chairs wasn't protecting anyone. That was attempting to injure, attempting to sideline, attempting to remove Roman from WWE television for an extended period. Consider the physical toll this assault took on Roman's body. The initial spear likely bruised or cracked ribs. The first tsunami splash compressed his internal organs and spine. Being thrown through a production crate could have resulted in lace rations, contusions, or worse. The tsunami splash against the steel door might have caused severe back trauma. And that final power slam onto steel chairs? That's the kind of impact that can cause herniated discs, spinal fractures, or paralysis in worst-case scenarios. Medical personnel eventually swarmed the scene after the attackers finally left Roman's broken body lying in that backstage area. The reports coming out suggest Roman suffered significant injuries to his back and spine. While WWE hasn't released an official statement on the extent of the damage, sources close to the situation indicate Roman may be looking at weeks or even months on the shelf. That's time stolen from his career, time stolen from fans who want to see him compete, all because two ambitious wrestlers decided rules don't apply to them. Here's a question for the comment section. If you were a WWE superstar, would you seek revenge immediately or play the long game and dismantle Breakker and Reed systematically? Let's hear your strategy. The timing of this attack is particularly suspicious and warrants deeper examination. This didn't happen randomly. This occurred at a moment when Roman Reigns was scheduled to address the WWE Universe about his future plans. He was coming off a series of hard-fought battles, showing vulnerability for the first time in years. Breakker and Reed pounced on that perceived weakness like the opportunistic predators they are. They didn't challenge him to a match. They didn't confront him face-to-face in the ring. They waited until he was alone, until he was vulnerable, until they had every possible advantage. That's not confidence. That's cowardice. Real competitors prove themselves in the ring, under the lights, with the world watching. Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed proved nothing except that they are willing to take shortcuts. They proved they don't believe they can beat Roman Reigns in a fair fight, so they had to resort to an ambush. That's not the mark of future champions. That's the mark of opportunistic thugs who will be remembered for all the wrong reasons. The WWE locker room's reaction to this assault has been mixed and revealing. Some younger wrestlers have remained silent, perhaps fearing they might be next if they speak out against Breakker and Reed. Some veterans have expressed disgust behind closed doors but haven't made public statements. A select few have hinted on social media that this crossed a line and there will be consequences. But notably, no one stepped up in the moment to help Roman Reigns. Where was the bloodline? Where were the wrestlers Roman has helped throughout his career? Their absence during Roman's time of need speaks volumes about the current state of loyalty in WWE. The role of management in this situation cannot be overstated or ignored. If this attack was orchestrated or approved by WWE officials, it represents a betrayal of their top star that's unprecedented in modern wrestling. Roman Reigns has been the backbone of WWE programming for the better part of a decade. He's worked through injuries, through personal health crises, through family tragedies. He's been the reliable centerpiece that WWE could build around. And if management sanctioned this attack, they've essentially told Roman that his years of loyalty and dedication mean nothing when stacked against the potential of younger talent. If management didn't sanction this attack, if Breakker and Reed went into business for themselves, then WWE has an even bigger problem. It means the inmates are running the asylum. It means wrestlers feel empowered to physically assault their colleagues without fear of real consequences. That kind of environment is toxic and unsustainable. It creates a workplace where no one is safe, where everyone constantly watches their back, where paranoia replaces professionalism. We have a quick request for you. We are constantly working to improve our content to earn your love and support. That's why we would truly appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on Wrestling Zone Insider. The broader implications for WWE programming are significant and worth exploring. If Roman Reigns is sidelined for months, who fills that void? Who becomes the focal point of WWE's main event scene? Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed clearly want that spot, but do they deserve it after earning it through assault rather than competition? This creates a moral dilemma for WWE creative. Do they reward this behavior by pushing Breakker and Reed to the moon? Or do they punish them, which might undermine the shock value of the attack they just presented to the audience? There's also the question of how Roman Reigns returns from this. Does he come back seeking revenge, hunting down Breakker and Reed with the fury of a man who was wronged? Does he return humbled, questioning whether he still has what it takes to compete at the highest level? Does he return with backup, finally surrounding himself with allies who can prevent future ambushes? The character possibilities are numerous, but all of them are born from an incident that should never have happened in the first place. Let's talk about Bron Breakker's lineage for a moment because it's relevant to understanding his mindset. Coming from the Steiner family means wrestling is literally in his blood. Rick and Scott Steiner were innovators, athletes who brought a level of intensity and physicality to tag team wrestling that was revolutionary. Bron has that same intensity, that same athletic ability, that same mean streak. But the Steiner brothers earned their reputation through competitive matches, through winning titles, through proving themselves against the best teams in the world. Bron is trying to shortcut that process by taking out an established star through an ambush. That's not honoring his family legacy, that's tarnishing it. Bronson Reed's journey to this point has been frustrating to watch. When he was in NXT, he showed incredible potential as a super heavyweight who could move like a cruiserweight. His tsunami splash became one of the most devastating finishing moves in WWE, but main roster booking never quite figured out what to do with him. He'd get momentum, then disappear from television. He'd win matches, then lose meaningless ones. That kind of stop-start booking would frustrate anyone. But frustration doesn't justify what he did to Roman Reigns. There are proper channels to express dissatisfaction with your position. Assault isn't one of them. Here's a trivia question for the comments. Which member of the Bloodline do you think will be the first to seek revenge for this attack on Roman Reigns? Share your predictions below. The physical execution of each move in this assault deserves technical analysis because it highlights just how dangerous this situation was. That initial spear from Breakker wasn't a worked spear designed to look devastating while protecting the recipient. That was a legitimate tackle with intent to injure. The angle of impact, the speed, the follow-through all suggested Breakker wasn't pulling anything. He wanted to hurt Roman Reigns, and he succeeded. Each of Bronson Reed's tsunami splashes involved him jumping from a standing or elevated position and allowing his full body weight to crash down on Roman. There's no way to safely take that kind of impact repeatedly, especially when you're already injured from previous attacks. The human spine isn't designed to withstand 500 pounds dropping from several feet in the air. Vertebrae can crack, discs can herniate, nerves can be damaged. Reed performed this move multiple times, each one potentially compounding the damage from the previous one. The slam through the production crate introduced foreign objects into the equation, making everything exponentially more dangerous. Wood splinters can cause lace rations. Sharp edges can gash skin. The awkward landing through breaking wood can twist joints in unnatural ways. This wasn't a controlled environment like a wrestling ring with some give. This was solid equipment designed to hold heavy gear, and Roman's body was thrown through it with maximum force. That tsunami splash against the steel garage door might have been the most dangerous spot of the entire assault. Steel doesn't give. Steel doesn't cushion impact. When Reed sandwiched Roman between his massive body and that unyielding steel, there was nowhere for the energy to dissipate except through Roman's body. His organs took the full brunt of that impact. His spine compressed against steel. That's the kind of impact that can cause internal bleeding, organ damage, or spinal trauma that affects someone for the rest of their life. The gorilla press power slam onto steel chairs was the exclamation point on a sentence written in violence. Chairs are designed to fold and collapse, but when stacked and positioned wrong, they create hard edges and unforgiving surfaces. Landing on them from 8 or 10 feet in the air, with all your body weight plus the force of the slam, creates an impact that the human body simply isn't meant to absorb. That Roman Reigns was even conscious after that speaks to his incredible toughness and conditioning. Let's address what should happen next because the WWE Universe deserves justice. First, Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed should face legitimate consequences. Whether that's suspensions, fines, or being forced into handicap matches where they are at a disadvantage, something must happen to show that this behavior is unacceptable. If WWE does nothing, they are essentially endorsing ambush attacks as a legitimate way to advance your career. That sets a dangerous precedent that will lead to chaos. Second, Roman Reigns deserves the opportunity for revenge when he's physically able to return. This can't be forgiven or forgotten. The tribal chief has been disrespected in the worst way possible, and the only acceptable resolution is for him to make Breakker and Reed pay for what they've done. Whether that's in singles matches, a handicap match, or some kind of stipulation match where he can legally brutalize them, Roman must get his hands on his attackers. Third, WWE management needs to address how this was allowed to happen. If security was ordered to stand down, who gave that order and why? Fans deserve answers. Roman deserves answers. Transparency is crucial here because without it, conspiracy theories will run wild and trust in WWE management will erode even further. Here's a final question for the comment section. On a scale of 1 to 10, how angry does this attack make you, and what punishment do you think Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed deserve? Drop your thoughts below and let's see if the WWE Universe agrees on justice. The attack on Roman Reigns represents a potential turning point in WWE history. Either this leads to compelling storytelling that elevates everyone involved, or it becomes a cautionary tale about what happens when shock value is prioritized over logic and safety. Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed have made their statement. They've announced themselves as major threats, but they've done so in a way that's difficult to respect or admire. True legends are built through overcoming challenges, not through ambushing them in hallways. Roman Reigns will return. There's no doubt about that. He's overcome cancer, he's overcome doubters, and he'll overcome this cowardly assault. When he does return, Breakker and Reed better be ready because the tribal chief doesn't forget, and he certainly doesn't forgive. This assault may have temporarily taken Roman out of action, but it's also created a monster who will be more dangerous and more motivated than ever before. Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed wanted to make a name for themselves. They accomplished that goal. Unfortunately for them, they've now made themselves targets for one of the most dominant forces WWE has ever seen. The reckoning is coming, and it will be brutal. We'll continue covering every development in this story right here on Wrestling Zone Insider.